Women who dated older men as teenagers that now realize they were predators. What's your story? My first boyfriend was 22 years old. I was probably 13 to 14 something. He was very controlling. The kind that tells me I'm not allowed to say no if he asks anything. He used to ignore me for days and not reply to me. And very often made me send him nudes, and I really hated it. But I wasn't allowed to refuse, or he would go find a girl who would satisfy him, a true woman. And I didn't see anything wrong at the time with this, but at least I didn't have sex with him even though he suggested that. Now I'm 21, and when I look back and think about it, I just feel so much shame and burden. And just ask myself why, and wonder, didn't he see that I was a freaking child? And I get filled with sadness. And I feel like that happening in such a young age really contributed to things I have done and hate. All I can take from this is to be careful in the future and make sure it won't happen to my own kids. He did see that you were a child. That's why he was there. As a kid, I had a friend who babysat a 30 to 35-year-old guy's young kids when she was 12 to 13. The dad guy started to romance her and convinced her they were dating, but people just wouldn't understand. I do remember asking her if she had had sex with him and what it was like. She said it didn't do anything for her, but I do it because he likes it. At the time I thought she was really mature and knew what she wanted in life, and parents would just try and boss her around. She moved after a couple years of being with him, so it fizzled out. She is married with her own kids now, and we aren't friends anymore, but as an adult I wish I could go back and explain to us that she was being abused. That it was predatory. And get the guy put in prison. I don't know the guy's name to look up whether he ever got caught. Edit BC clarify and typo. This is the reason my parents would absolutely not allow me to work as a babysitter when I was a teenager. I always thought they were being overprotective, but who knows, I read too many stories like these now. I was 15 and definitely didn't understand a thing about love or danger. I found out that he was married and had a child because he literally disappeared, and I was trying to find out what happened. I'll put my experience in here while I'm at it. I was 14. He was 21, and I thought it was cool that he had a car and could buy alcohol. Luckily I didn't interact with this person for more than a few months. I was 15 with a 21-year-old. He hung around youth group and made all us younger girls feel special with his attention. I was shy and quiet. Didn't stand out much. But obviously wanted the special attention that all the prettier, peppier girls got. He wasn't interested until he found out my mom worked nights and I was home alone. We ended up getting into a pretty heated argument and split when 2 weeks in. I still hadn't let him come over because I was terrified of what my mom would do if she knew I'd had anyone over while she was gone. Glad you stood up to him, but kudos to your mom for raising you right. My mother found older boys to introduce me to when I was 15-16. She would take me to coffee shops or sneak me into bars and charm her way with men in their 20s only to introduce them to me. I would date them. And she would get chores done around the house that she needed. Painted kitchen. Fixed cabinets. Roof work. Stuff like that. I remember my best friend's mom trying to warn me and explain to me why it was wrong of my mother to let her 15-year-old date 25-year-olds. But I just thought I was really cool. It wasn't until one of them found me online and reached out a few years ago that I realized what she'd actually been doing all that time. And of course, none of these guys knew what the beep they were doing, so the house looked like speep anyways. I was 11 and he was 23. We didn't date, he had a girlfriend, but he would sext me and send me nudes. Eventually I realized it was strange and blocked him. Didn't tell anyone about it. I sometimes wonder if it's impacted me more than I would care to admit. I had a similar thing. He was 19 and I was 11. And he would always ask me for nudes, but I never sent them cause I knew it was wrong deep down. I finally got the courage to tell my friends a little while ago. Also, happy cake day. Edit. Thank you all so much for the upvotes and the kindness. I really hope everyone who has been through a similar situation is doing good. I was 13 with a 22-year-old boyfriend. He made me feel special. Grown up. My friends were all jealous, tbh he was hot. A predator but a solid 10/10. We met on Xbox Live, those were the days, and started a relationship. I was in my ugly duckling phase, so was drawn into it by the attention. No boys my own age seemed interested in me. I was bullied a bit and it was nice for a good-looking older boy to think I was pretty. He slowly pressured me into sex. Started with pushing me into sexual acts on webcam. To oral. Then full sex. He always insisted on filming everything because he loved me so much he wanted to only use our videos as porn. What I wasn't aware of was the fact he was showing all his friends and they made bets on how quickly he could get me to do something else. Whenever I pushed back, he always said, if I wanted to date a man I needed to act like a woman, otherwise he would find a girl more willing to have a proper relationship with him. He then tried to pressure me into sleeping with his friends. Started with a threesome, him included, then one night he asked me to just sleep with his friend. I saw his friend give him money, which is when I realized this whole thing was a lie and left. Wow. I'm so sorry that happened to you. I hope you're doing well now. He was my guidance counselor. I didn't realize how creepy he was until he proposed. The whole thing was fbeeped. I'm from a third world country where it is normal for 15 to 16-year-old girls to date guys in their early to late 20s. Especially in the 90s when chat rooms became available thanks to the internet. At 13 to 14 years old with my girlfriends, we would meet up with 18 to 19-year-old boys, which now I know it was not a good idea, but I didn't know any better back then. Until I moved to a different country where I learned that there were strict laws in place for adults dating / having sex with teenagers. I was too stupid to understand why my mom was so upset when at 14 I had a date and got picked up in a car by a 24-year-old who bought me ice cream at McDonald's, but luckily he was very nice and took me home after. Can't say I wasn't pressured into doing sexual stuff at very young age by much older men, but unfortunately that was the norm. Which country was it? My first boyfriend, I was barely 15. He was 21. Worked in a local shop and all the girls at my school liked him, so came as a bit of a surprise when the biggest dork ever, me, somehow landed him and not any of the popular girls. We dated for maybe 4 months. Turned out he was sleeping with 3 girls in my year, which I found confusing because I'd begged him to take my virginity to no avail. Always found that really weird and insulting that he never even wanted to sleep with me. Plot twist. My mum had stormed into the shop when we first started dating and told him, "If you take my daughter's virginity, I will kill you with my bare hands." God bless my mum. I was 14 and dated a 25-year-old cop. He never asked my age and I never told. One day we're chatting on phone and I told him that I got some homework to do and I'll call back later. He said freshman year of college, getting to Yahoo? I said, college? I'm in high school. Dead silence. Then he asked how old I was and I said 14. He freaked out and was saying I'm gonna go to jail for this and I'm gonna lose my job. He said I can't see you again and please don't tell anyone. I said yeah, of course. I got why he was scared and I never saw him again and never told. When I was 16 I dated one of my older brother's friends. He was 26. He knew I was younger but not exactly how much younger. And we just never talked about age. Started our fling in the summertime, so when soccer practice began in the fall he was confused. As our local college doesn't have a team. He ghosted me and my dumb little heart was broken. But looking back, I'm so glad he saw it as creepy and weird. And saved us both from more trouble. I was 15 and met a 30-year-old who was an older brother of a boy I met in group therapy. He used to tell me how complicated and mature I was, lol, so cliche. I'm now 24 and seeing or interacting with anyone who is 15 makes me sick. I felt so old then, but it's insane now how obvious to me that people that age are children.